So I'm going to keep going on number 6 here. I want to really make sure we understand this idea, how this code works. So how classes work. So for the code to work, you need to create a winter class and add elements to the class. So really add the class to elements. But the class is created in the style sheet with the following code. So we look in the style sheet and we can see winter, right? Dot winter. There's that dot there. That dot indicates that we're naming a class, which is different from these HTML elements, right? H2, H5, we don't need a dot for those because those are already elements. You can kind of think of this as almost creating your own HTML element that you're going to put into your HTML, except it's not an element, it's a class. So when you go to the index HTML file, anything you add that class to gets the rules that are in that class. So if I added another rule here, background color white. And we did that. There we go. So that would change the background color to white for anything with the winter class. We refresh and save. And so now notice anything with a winter class, right? Anything that has class equals winter gets that. So it's an H5 at H2. It doesn't matter what the element is. You can add the class to literally any element, and it will apply those CSS styles to that element. This is a more advanced way that we can add style to our tag. So I'm going to hit finish for this one. Let's read through the rest of it. Sorry. This code creates a class called winter. So dot winter, that color. Makes everything in the class our winter blue, which has RGB values of 185, 230, and 255, which should be close to what you have on your sheet. It adds an H5 element to the winter class. So H5 class equals winter. So inside the opening tag, right, is where we put class equals. So when you put class equals in the opening tag, it's going to add everything in that class to that HTML tag. So adding winter to this class adds all of these rules to this element. Okay, and you can see that happening over here on the right. If I take away winter, those stylings go away. And so hopefully we understand that. If you don't, make sure you're asking me for more help. Let's continue on with the lesson here. Okay, number 7, we have an informational tab here. So in the HTML file, it would look like this, p class equals fancy. In the CSS file, we use that dot fancy. That's really all you need from this page here. You can look at more information here, CSS syntax, classes, there's more information there, but I'm going to continue on with code.org so we can get through the rest of these activities in this video. So in activity number 8, let's see what this is about. Your winter words should all have the same color and font. Find the CSS rule set and the style sheet that gives the winter words their style. So find the CSS rule set in the style sheet that gives the winter words their style. So that's what we're going to do first. So we go to the style sheet, find the rule set that gives the winter words their style. Boom, it's right here. We actually don't need that. That makes it look gross. Cool. Add a rule that changes the font of the winter words. It can be any font. So I'm going to go with font family. I'm going to go with fantasy. Let's see if that does. And look, it changes it, so it looks a little different. Add any of the rules you want to your winter words. Let's add a border style solid, border size 1px, and border color. I want to add this. It's not border size. I forget the name of that CSS thing. So I combine all of my borders into one. Take all of these, and we can make actually one tag. Just do border 1px solid, and then the color. And that actually will make the borders anyway. So we should do that, and there we go. Now the borders are around all of those words. Cool. So we are done with that. We're going to hit finish over here. So we can load number 9. Number 9. Number 9. So now your winter class is ready. You can start on the other seasons. Find the CSS rule set that gives the spring words their style. Add 2 rules, one to give the text your spring color from earlier in the lesson, and another to give the text a different font. So what you're going to want to do here, you're going to want your sheet that you actually had earlier. So find the CSS rule set that gives spring words their style. So we go style CSS dot spring. Notice no rules. So we're going to add 2 rules, one to give the text your spring color. So you're going to add a color rule, and another to give the text a different font. So we're going to add a font family. I'm going to keep going with the fantasy. But the color, you need to go back to our sheet. So on your sheet, you stored the colors, right? Someone already wrote their code here. So for spring, this student had 34, 227, and 28. So RGB, 34, 227, and 28. Let's see what color that makes for spring. Refresh and save. Add the spring class to the spring elements. So we have to go to our HTML document now and go to our spring elements. So that's summer, here's spring. So add the spring class. And actually, if you remember that trick, we can type in more than one place at once. Use control, and you can type in all of these places at the same time. Class equals, you don't need the dot, right? The dot is only in the CSS file. .spring creates the class. Here we have class equals spring, and that should add a nice green spring color to our elements here. You can use your own spring color, which might have been a pink or a purple like we used earlier in our lesson. Finish. I have 2 minutes. 2 minutes. Hurry up. Load, 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 load. 10 is an assessment. So 10 is what I'm going to be looking at as I grade these alongside those papers that you're going to hand into me. The papers really are for your reference. This isn't something I'm grading so much as a reference sheet for you. So inside the style sheet, create a new rule for the summer class. Add a rule set in the summer class to your summer RGB color. And so I'm going to kind of walk you through what you're doing here. I'm not going to give you the answer in this video just because when I grade these, I want you to have your own thing that you've done. But what they kind of want you to do here, so the first thing, create a new rule set for the summer class. I'll do that one with you just to make sure you're getting started on the right foot. You're going to go down here, make sure you hit a period first, and then just type summer. And that will create a summer rule set. And now you're going to add to these rules similar to what we just did here, except the color that you're going to use is whatever your summer color is. So when you did summer here, right, 244, 255, and 0 is what this person has. You might have a different color the way you want yours to look, but that's what you're going to add. So these rules you can add to summer. And add the summer class, add the rule set to the text. So make sure you go in here and you're adding the class to each of these opening tags. Add the summer class. Yep, and then do the same for autumn. So you're repeating the same thing with autumn, which is down here. So you'll want to make sure with fall you go to your style sheet and add a class for .fall or .autumn. However you want to handle it. Up to you. So long.